Oh, almost Christmas. The best time of the year, if you ask me, is Christmas because it's a time of love, family, bonding, peace, good food, and of course, party after party, and not to mention the harmattan. That's what I love most about it, and I felt it this morning. You know the vibes. We took to the street to ask some of our viewers, why is this hair in my face? I'm sorry. We took to the street to ask some of our viewers what their plan is for Christmas and if they will be celebrating or not, especially in this T-Pain regime. It is, well, now here's what they had to say on Jessere Street. Jessere on the street. I'll be fine.
Try if you know Tinubu right from day one. It's not kind of one that always telling lies. Most of his policy is only that Nigerian, we are too in the east. His policy is really helping. People are looking at, because of petrol and all this bandit, maybe they condemn others. All his policies are very, very fantastic. And in fact, I will tell you something, for more than 2 decades, our refinery has never been working. If it's not Tinubu, Tinubu is not kind of person that can just table any rubbish. He will definitely know what he's doing. So the hope for all Nigerians is to be high. I believe in him. I so much believe in him, and I know we do much for more. So the policy he was doing for is giving to us is one of the fantastic policies. And then, at least I don't know whether you are kind of person that bought SIM card, 40,000 naira, 30,000 naira. Look at SIM card now, it's free. That's what Tinubu is trying to do, that let everything to be free.
Not really. For my parents, I've been in Lagos, so I don't travel often for Christmas.
No, I'm not traveling.
Why?
Because of the economic and the transport and every other thing. So I decided to stay back and celebrate my Christmas in Lagos here.
It has really affected a lot of things, but then we have to move on and do what we need to do, but not as usual because things are really high now. Bag of rice going to like almost 120,000. So everything have to be on a low key. But above all, just have to be happy and be cool with what we have.
I'm a Muslim, so I don't need to. Every day is happy. If you know what really happened to Nigeria, because we don't follow policy. Let's assume you are following the policies the government is going. To God whoever made me, you see sincerity in what this federal government is doing. At least we need to be patient and we need to be perseverant. Things will be better. I believe in it. But many people say things are expensive because they use Lagos to justify. Other states, things are cheap. I'm telling you, things are cheap in other states. So that's why I believe in the government that is winning.
It really affected and everything, both business and otherwise. It affected everything.
Of course, we celebrate Christmas because there's life and my family are fine. So, but we just try to make it in a low key and be happy above all. You need to be happy, at least put a smile on somebody's face, but not as Christmas as usual because everything is really high now.
Now, it's good health we are celebrating, and God, the gift of God upon our life, that we are alive, we are healthy. Anything you eat is okay.
I'm not sure because there's no hope. There's no hope for next year. As we are like this, I think is because every day by day things are getting worse. So if our leaders can do anything, can do something about this, I think there will be a better Nigeria. But for now, everywhere, everybody are suffering.
Because if I travel, when I get home, everybody, all my cousins, my brothers, why they'll be excited that I'm around. You know, if I come from Lagos, I'm supposed to bring everything. We eat and drink, but there's nothing. It's not like before. So after Christmas, if I have anything, I send small thing. So I'm not traveling at all.
While looking at the economic now, I'm not putting my hope on this government, but my own self, trying to strategize what I need to do to have extra means of income. But I'm not putting my hope in this government because they have really failed us on every side.
When there's nothing, so what are you going to celebrate? We are just there. Yeah, we are just there.
By God's grace, we are praying. I know God, He has answered already. It will manifest.
Everybody be preaching patience and perseverance in this. We've been talking about this for the longest time. Patience, perseverance.
No, see, for me, the first guy, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians want to just reset his.
He was very academic.
I swear.
And that's what he's the one that was talking about patience now. That
Yeah,
we need to learn to
perseverance.
we that should follow policy, so that we will now see that government is working.
But I worry, like really at the end of the day, have you guys seen the state of Lagos? Nobody is leaving.
It's gridlocked everywhere. No one can travel.
Everywhere there's traffic, and at the end of the day, you understand why. Because if you want to travel, how people were able to travel in previous years is not how they're able to travel. There's no money. And as that last woman said, it's you that's coming from Lagos. Everybody thinks you're bringing the vibe, you're bringing the air, you're bringing the goodies from Lagos. Even you are struggling to find the goodies.
And even if you don't travel, everybody is expecting you to send in something as per the one working in Lagos.
On the streets, I was some, you know me, I was just somewhere and then hearing people talking. One guy said to me, as it is now, if he's going home, which he lives in Kaduna, he may jump onto the trucks that carry
Goods and
goods, and that he knows that one at least it will take maybe 3 days to get there. But that's him keeping his transport. Do you understand? So he use the transport and go and
do the Christmas.
Family,
Yeah.
his mother's in the village, his grandmother's in the village. So imagine that thinking. And he says he wants to go in. So people are planning, they want to go anywhere. They even plan to go on Christmas Day or the 24th night. So that you wake up and the village sees you in the morning that you have arrived.
And
like
then
you go like a thief in the
You're
night.
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then looking at the prices of flights and all that stuff, you consider like when
Is it worth
before I
throwing that
spend
money away?
yes, to get where I'm
Yes.
going, and then you have to spend again when
To
you're
come
with
back.
family. You just rather not.
I mean, a local flight right now it's going to run you up maybe 400,000 going and coming. A local flight, 400K. Come
So I
on.
love my mother. Me that wanted to visit. She said, stay where you are. If the money you want to spend, send it for me. My mother told me to stay where I am.
Yeah.
Before
I
you
love
would
it.
say, oh no, I just want to be among you.
Yeah.
I just want to be with
With family.
Let's just wake up. I want to smell the harmattan in the village.
The akara in the morning before they start chasing the chicken to pay the chicken for the rice.
Those little things. No, ma, it's not even working.
And I think it was better last year, maybe because of the, would I say palliative now, the
Which one?
slash in transport.
To where?
Last year.
Transport
now
to
that
your house.
the president
Okay,
did
yeah,
the
it's not too late. They might still do
so
it
I
maybe
think that
next
because
week.
of that, a lot of people jumped to it. Because I know that sometimes the streets were free, but this time around we're almost lapping ourselves.
Until we get to the public holiday before the streets are free. Somebody tweeted yesterday that, please, this is a PSA. Lagos is full. Don't come anymore. I'm trying to hear it. I think, it's too much. And we are here with people.
They've not even started because you will see more influx on the
influx is coming this
23rd,
week.
24th.
Yes.
And the IJGBs are around. Whether they're the British ones, the American ones.
The American ones
there's
are here, the British ones are here.
Right now, Instagram is what's making me laugh. Not necessarily happy, but it's making me laugh because all the IJB stuff is around. People are talking about, somebody, V said we're facing mobsters and monsters. You do not know if your man would disappear this Christmas holiday.
Just collect, just see from me, just take what you see.
But you know what I'm
take what
thinking?
you see.
I feel like I mean, this is a little somber, but we're not talking about how the economy is actually changing our Christmas tradition. Because like you were talking about chasing the chicken in the morning, you were talking about the village harmattan. So there's so many traditions around Christmas that's very family oriented. But I feel like because we have to, we're changing those traditions. People are going to be at home by themselves.
The
this
guy
year.
was like, it reached my turn to start my own family tradition. Things cost.
Because when it starts, we stay. I'll have my in-laws over after I leave work because we don't have a public
Because some people are working on Christmas Day.
So we'll have the in-laws over, we'll have friends over. The thing is, as much as those traditions might change, it's also an opportunity for us to start new traditions.
Yeah,
but I think
But I don't want to start cheap traditions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is it not you and Asher? What is this one talking about? What tradition is she talking about? Is it not you and Asher that were looking at yourselves this morning?
No, what your mom is
I'll buy a Christmas cap for him, and then I think we're good.
Your mom is not coming.
My mom. So the thing is, the whole family is going to her, right? And I always used to love Christmas because, like I said, she'll wake you up at 4 a.m. in the morning, cooking for who knows send you. You finish cooking and then she would distribute all her children to the ends of the earth to go and
send
do
people food. Yeah,
and
to go
that's
take food.
so. At first, while you're in it, you won't really see the importance of it, or you would even see it as stress.
Community.
But immediately I left, I missed going on errands. I missed sharing food. I missed just giving food and standing anything for the girl.
No, don't put this chicken on this person's rice.
my phone. They said, give this person this one. This one.
Yeah.
Make sure that give this one.
All of that is what I miss. And then after that, we go to church, then we come back and we're drinking cold zobo. And it's just, so everything. And then we
Christmas
go
lunch.
visiting.
Yeah.
I just miss all of that.
Guys, let's start
a
our own Chasiri tradition. We have to think of something to make it.
Totally, don't give them ideas. You're going to tell them
Annie,
that we want to work
I don't know
every
what Tolu has in
Christmas.
store. Do you know what Tolu? Christmas, this Tolu is behaving like a somebody that can fly in the night.
please.
No, but I
Annie,
agree.
you will be here on Christmas.
Who will
I'm
be?
just inviting
You
you.
are you're a co-host.
I'm
And
just-
it's Christmas. You're a special celebrity.
Okay.
So the thing is, I actually agree with Tolu because you have to make it work. So
Yeah,
I
you
remember,
make what you
one of
have.
my friends, he was always working,
Yeah.
Christmas, New Year. So he had this New Year tradition where he will invite all his friends from, say, 8 p.m. They will start eating
Fantastic.
till like 3 a.m. I'm telling you,
that's
they
what
will
we bring
eat
in the
into
New
the,
Year.
and then, so
I
that's
love
his
it.
own way of saying I'm eating into prosperity, things like and I was always looking forward to being a part of
Guys,
it.
I don't know
Unfortunately, I
what
couldn't.
you people
but-
are still talking about Christmas. And let me just say it out because I don't know if I can be here because I may not be myself.
I can't not be
You know these things. I don't know.
Because us to a break because I'm not here.
I will just be like this. I really I don't know. Hey.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
Do I need to call your full name?
Okay.
Thank you.
So, guys, you know how excited I get on Fridays because it's Hot Topic special. And you know the flow. We'll take a break now. We'll usher in our guest. She's been here before and you all love her. You love her, so don't lie. You love her, we love her, and everybody loves her.
They don't
So
know
without
yet
further-
now. Stop shouting at them.
It's the Christmas spirit. So I'm going to go get her now so we can all have a nice time together as one big happy Christmas family. Now, when we return, we've got updates on the tragic stampede that claimed the lives of several children. Then, did you hear the president tell the National Assembly members they're all re-elected? We've got the details. There's also that controversy that the comedian Bovi found himself in after his comments on not beating his children and so much more. You don't want to miss this dish after this. Welcome back to Jasiri, our award-winning show. Our Hot Topic special guest is now in the studio with us. It's time to dig deep into the stories on our Jasiri table today. So, who is our guest today? Let's see. I almost didn't recognize her. I tell you, you are like fresh tomato juice. You are like fresh bread that they just brought out of the bakery. That bread that when you press like this used to end time.
Oh
my
And you know what? The reason I even like it, she was sending me all these first lady pictures. All I need you to do is wear that hat. No, now I need something more less formal because I think a lot of us we get caught up, especially with the job we do, on being formal.
Yes.
And like Olive will say she's always jealous of the Jasiri ladies. We're a little bit more informal.
Yeah.
Then you now come looking like what my friend was this.
You know, she literally, what did you say when you came in this morning? You said, Margaret, is that Margaret Thatcher?
You said that. They didn't even allow me introduce you as I would have loved.
Please,
to.
when will I be a special guest? Because they must do this motivation. Like this thing is
Let's do our montage.
Oh my God.
Let's do our montage for Christmas. We'll do our own montage. I love it. Every time I say that, maybe I want one.
Honestly, I want one.
Okay, introductions. Let's go.
So let's do what we came here to do. I mean, I wasn't here yesterday, but trust me, I was just as broken as everyone to hear the tragic passing of 35 children at the Stampede in Oyo State on Wednesday. There are updates from what the ladies discussed yesterday. The Oyo State Police Command yesterday confirmed the arrest of 8 people, including Naomi Shilekwala, the ex-wife of the Oni of Ife, following a fatal stampede at a children's event. Shilekwala was the key organizer of the event, which was a children's Christmas party organized by Wings, that's Women in Need of Guidance and Support, a foundation that she established. Now, President Bola Tinubu has also expressed deep concerns over what happened and has also called for a comprehensive investigation into the tragic stampede. And in a statement released by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, stated that this is an incredibly painful moment for our nation. I extend my heartfelt condolences to the families experiencing this unimaginable loss. Our thoughts and prayers are with them as we collectively mourn this tragedy. That's the end of quotes. He also emphasized that the safety and well-being of our children must always take precedence and that no event should ever compromise their safety or place their lives at risk.
Wow. So Judith, I know for Breakfast Extra, this is a conversation you guys are looking to have sometime this weekend, but it's a very difficult conversation for us to have. The number yesterday, I think when we spoke, was around 32.
Yes.
Now it's 35 children killed. Others are injured in the stampede. We saw the flyer for the fun fair, and this also was a capacity. This was a place at a capacity, I think, of 5,000. That's the flyer there for the fun fair. And this is actually not the first year. So I went deep dive. She did it, I think, in 2022. Also had done in 2021. I didn't see for 2023. So it's not the first year. She moves it around to different places. But apparently she had gone on this radio station, which is also now distancing itself from Agidigbo as well, distancing itself from the event to really just bring people out. And then people came out. Kids came out, and they simply did not have enough capacity for the crowd, or even having enough people to control the crowd as well.
When I found out that I was going to be the person having this conversation, I thought about the best way to approach this to be fair and to not let my emotions get in the way. If you can hear, my voice is breaking. 35 children at a time like this is unimaginable.
Absolutely.
It's unthinkable. It's harrowing for the family. And our heart goes out to the family of those who have lost their children at a time where they should be celebrating at the end of the year. Now, to the ex-wife of the Oni, doing a deep dive on her, I realized that she's also a philanthropist, and I've been doing this for a very long time, like you rightfully said. And I can only imagine how this feels for her as well, knowing that you've been doing this for so long, and this came from a good place, and it melt down into such a tragic event. It is unbelievably saddening. And I will also say this, let this be, and I hate that this is a cautionary tale, but let this be a cautionary tale to, first of all, to the government, because you and your policies have put people in a situation where they have to send their children as early as 8, 9, 7 a.m. in the morning to go queue up to get gifts. Because of your austerity measures, people are now so impoverished that they have to go find where the Christmas rice is going to happen at. With that being said, the organizers, and I know that everyone is trying to do good, because I'm trying to put myself in their minds, you know, being there, seeing these numbers of people, can I turn them back? I want to do good. How do I do this? You know, there are people that, it's so hard. I've been to, you know, events like this where you are, you know, you volunteer to be there. And how do you turn people back? Because you hear sob stories and heartbreaking stories. It's like, how do I pick and choose who to help? And who do I turn back? And even as you're there, they are begging you, telling you, please let me go in. I blame everyone. I blame the government. I blame the event host. I blame us as Nigerians, including myself, because we have let poverty get to this point that 35 children have died.
But do you think, so I have to ask, because we were having this conversation yesterday, do you think this is a poverty conversation?
It is.
I personally don't necessarily think so, because I've been with Nigerians in crowds, and some of the things we're hearing as people are sharing the stories is that even as that stampede was happening and people were being pressed down, people were still walking over them to get to the gifts. And apparently I think the owner or the CEO of Agidigbo, I listened to a voice note from him this morning, even though people don't want to hear from him, let's be honest, where he said he went on radio and was even saying, don't come, that there's even, what is the gift that they want to give you that you're even willing to send your children? At the point in time when they saw that they were over, or that capacity was being reached, or whether they're over capacity, he was on radio, he said, telling people it's not worth it. It was the kind of gift
you don't expect people
that you're even coming.
Here's my issue with this. The reason, I hear you, but the reason that this is a poverty conversation is that
Imagine if people had other options.
Yeah.
If they had the option of eating rice in their houses and chicken and having some sort of little toy, fewer kids would come out.
Are you sure about that?
I promise you that this event, it signifies the only Christmas that they're going to have. That's the truth.
Without
I'm not saying
paying
Nigerians are
anything.
not unruly. We have a problem with maintaining
Order.
decorum and order. But I'm telling you that you wouldn't have seen these many people. These represent families who have said, we probably haven't eaten in a while. We will not see free food like this. Who's going to pass up an opportunity that has been so elusive the entire year? We know how hard this economy has been. We know how people have been complaining specifically about food. People are hungry. So, I'm going to get something free to eat and a toy. Christmas is not just going to go...
And a toy.
And a toy.
Put that there, because I know that toys are expensive. I'm shopping, I'm doing Christmas shopping,
Many
and let me tell
parents
you.
are not going to be able to give
Last
their
2
kids
years, and
gifts.
now the gifts,
Way expensive.
it's way expensive.
Yes.
And you're telling me I get free toys. Look, I've always said
People are
this.
gonna go.
I've said this, right? My childhood, I've always said, I didn't come from a wealthy background. I didn't have toys. I used secondhand books in secondary school. I didn't get new books, so we would always buy secondhand books. Or the older kids who were in my neighborhood, you'd go there and you ask. So I knew that, right? And if there was an event like this in my neighborhood and you heard free toys,
You're going.
what are you talking about?
So I would say that I know that greed also plays a part, because no matter how much you want, especially in Nigeria, you would always want more. If you hear that they're sharing free rice, even if you have a rice, so that's an extra, we can keep that for New Year and things like that. But then again, I do agree that this is a poverty conversation, because look at the crowd. I'm sure that there are parents who, we're talking about this yesterday, and we said even at shopping malls, the parents who will just come and drop their children
kids
and
there.
go.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're doing it from a place of nonchalance. I think it's just, okay, this is an opportunity to, even if you're not getting much, it's also an opportunity to play with kids, because there are no play parks. There are no places that they can go to on
there's
Christmas
music
Day and play
there.
with them. So
It's a
there
fun
are going to
fair.
be a lot of kids. And
Yeah.
this attempt, this pathetic attempt at damage control you can't put out a flyer, free entrance, free food, free gifts, and then you're saying don't come. It doesn't
So
work.
let's look a little bit at the flyer. So the event was tagged the Children's Fun Fair 2024. It was advertised as a free celebration promising exciting prizes, scholarship, and entertainment for children age 0. Why do you want children age 0 to 13? There has, of course, been the argument about the absence of sufficient crowd control and medical provisions. And the place was supposed to take 5,000. We're hearing that they were over capacity at up to 7,500. The report also says that Agidigbo FM's management, which had partnered with Sheila Kola's Wings Foundation, denied being responsible for organizing the program. So now we're seeing a lot of denials. I know there's a statement that they put out recently. I think they put out the statement on Wednesday after the tragedy had happened, or either yesterday. And they said that they were not, in fact, the event organizer, but one of the media outfits used to promote it. And what has now happened on top of that is we now have Mr. Oriyomi Hamzat, who's being dragged online for the pictures he posted. And these pictures were just absolutely insensitive. I hope we can get those pictures. He's in the hospital, supposedly has 2 tubes up his nose, an oxygen mask beside him. And even in that, like a voice note, he was talking to somebody, or they were interviewing him, I guess. He was saying about how he also collapsed. He was running around, those are the pictures. He was running around trying to pick up people, that he left the place in his boxers. That was so bad that he was absolutely torn apart, and he left the place in his boxers. I don't know if he's the one who posted this, or somebody thought, okay, let's get some sympathy for him as well and posted it on his behalf. But these pictures, they're not doing whatever they thought they were going to do. The pictures, in fact, have just opened him up to more criticism, because they've been quite insensitive to the fact that 35 children have died. Families are mourning at a time when it should be about joy and celebrations and family. And there's still other people in the hospitals who we do not know if they will survive. Yes, put out a statement, but those pictures, you talk about damage control. I don't know if this is trying to solicit some form of sympathy for him as well. Very, very poorly done, in bad taste, insensitive, and really, this should have been a moment in which he went into silence. That is my thoughts.
This whole thing is a huge cautionary tale.
We look at these things and we analyze it the best way that we can. But the parts people don't, the level people don't take this to is, at this time of the year, we grow from traditional religious practices. It's things that we grow with. There's Christianity, but we always hear these things that, okay, you know, this time of the year, you have to be careful when traveling on the road, you have to be careful. And I was actually surprised to see that it was Queen Prophetess.
That's her. She used to be a prophetess before she became a queen. Yeah.
Let's not overlook the spiritual angle of these guys.
Sorry.
Let's not.
Catherine!
I want to hear her land. I want to wait. I want her to land. I want you to land.
You know that there are people who are involved in fetish. I'm just saying generally, guys, this is not new to us. There are people who involve themselves in fetish things. There are people who say, okay, maybe they had seen or foreseen that this was going to happen, or probably the ground needed to be wet for something. I'm just saying, guys, this is who we are as Africans. Let me not even go Africa, as Nigerians. People who are watching this, some will say, okay, that is true. People who have other eyes, second eyes, spiritual eyes, would say that okay, this is not normal. It's not physical.
It's not only physical.
I think it's just negligence and lack of proper planning.
I'm just saying that this is an angle that also is
because this, if you look at it, this is not the first year that she's doing it. This is not.
So
if there was so maybe we would have looked into that if it happened all maybe 3-4 times that she's done it. But this is the first time, and I feel like
if it happens 2-3 times when she's done it, then it would be obvious, and then you can't do.
No, they can't be that desperate to wait for 3 years. Let's
take the road less. I'm gonna put a pin here and say this. These are 35 children that died, and it's very important for us to say what it is, and that is negligence happened. This is it. The hunger and the poverty in the land is what has driven that number to increase.
Yeah, desperation.
Right? And everybody, including the states, should hold some part to blame and take responsibility and give succor to the family of the children.
I like the fact that Judith brought in the states, because I'm also upset with the state too, which is apparently distancing themselves. Yes. So what is the process in Oyo State when it comes to having capacity crowds or having events? You're in Oyo State, you're in Ibadan, the state capital. What do you do? If you're having an event or you're having 300 people, any event, who do you need to contact? Do you need to contact the police? Do you need to contact the road safety people? Do you need to contact HSE? What is the process? And if we're seeing a flyer from somebody like her, I'm reluctant to say that the state did not know that she was doing an event.
She's a former wife of the Oni of Ife,
which is Oshun. But at the end of the day, I'm very reluctant to say that the state did not know that she was doing an event, was not aware of it, and maybe someone did not say, okay, are we involved? Where are we in this? And you're seeing 5,000 capacity.
No, look, and again,
the distancing is annoying me. This is the statement from the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, of course, who talked about the incident occurring at the Islamic High School, Bashorun, the venue of an event organized for families. Sadly, a stampede at the venue has led to multiple loss of lives and injuries. A sad day for us in Oyo State. We sympathize with the parents. He also says we have taken steps to ensure no further deaths are recorded at this venue by deploying security agents to restore order at the venue. We've also deployed medical personnel and ambulances to the venue, and the venue has been stopped. Attendees have been escorted out of the venue. We're taking all realistic measures. While investigations are ongoing, the primary organizers of the event that led to this stampede have been taken into custody. I want to reassure our people that anyone directly or remotely involved in this disaster will be held accountable.
It's not. It's very.
I just feel like it's not
funny,
enough.
guys. It's not. This is not the time of year for this. And whether we like it or not, like Judith says, there was gross negligence. You can't send children there. You say from age zero to what?
What are you looking for?
You can't send them without their parents. And if their parents are there, there
were no child minders there as well.
There were no child minders.
So I also even know that there are events. There was an event that I saw happening at a mall some time ago. The children had a separate space. They had a playground, they had playthings to work with, and then you go that place was well secured. So if at all, I don't think that children will be rushing to get gifts and now start stepping on each other. So keep the adults somewhere else. Because what we see there is both adults sane and insane. People just gathered there. There was no control, nothing.
Look at the crowd. How many adults are you seeing for the crowd of kids?
No,
and I think that was actually a reference to the previous one she has held. So that was how she was how she was promoting the next one this one that unfortunately happened on Wednesday. At the end of the day, I said something yesterday and I'll still say it again. We are a country that will say never again, but then we remove the never and we go back to the again. I hope not, whether it's Oyo State, it's Lagos. Lagos does pretty well for HSE situations in many of these concerts you're going to see. We talked about it a bit yesterday, but we do hope that 35 children losing their lives will not be deaths in vain, whether it's in Oyo State or anywhere else in this country. And somebody also was saying, what will it take to move Nigerians? 35 children.
Nothing. I don't think nothing will move Nigerians.
Literally what I was about to
Nothing
say.
will move
Nothing.
Nigerians.
Because you see, we
Nothing.
talk about
Have we
what's
lost our
going to
empathy
happen,
so
what's the
much?
state going to do, what has ever been done? More than an announcement that says
We sympathize and we condole.
sympathize, we highly discourage this and that. People do whatever they want to do in this country. When people die, nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Catherine asked a question. She said, what then will move Nigerians? I say nothing because when you look at our very history, whether colonial era, post-colonial era, the First Republic, Second, Third, and now where we're at, they have been chaotic situations. We've forgotten that it was in the same Lagos, very not far away from here, the Ojo cantonment, when that bombing happened and people jumped into canals. There are reports after that the streets that those children came from were so quiet, and it was daunting and harrowing because the young children and the people who live there were so afraid because of the false information that they got, and they jumped into canals without being able to swim, and they died. Nothing's happened. There's no monument. I mean, there are monuments, but like, it's moved on. Let's not get started. We move on so much. We have expanded so much so that part of our brain that is about empathy, and the other part of empathy is learning from that empathy. We move past of it. We don't have it anymore. It has stretched so much that it has changed the DNA of every Nigerian that comes after us.
We're apathetic.
Yeah, so it's now the epigenetics of us. It's been so much skewed that even our children to come, they have to be removed from this environment
conditioning of your
to
environment.
learn how to
Environment
be
has
human
conditioned
and
again.
learn from that again. Unfortunately, nothing will happen. We will be back here again. And I hope not
You
in
know
my
what,
lifetime.
ladies, I know that we can talk about this for a while, but we're going to have to move on to another story before we take another break. So there was a slip of tongue, well, you can call it that, some would say, while President Bola Tinubu was addressing the 10th National Assembly during the presentation of the 2025 budget proposal. In his speech, he called them the 11th National Assembly. Wait, let's roll so that we can see, and then we'll come back.
Fulfillment of one of my constitutional duties, and with unyielding commitment to rebuilding Nigeria towards ensuring that we remain steadfast on the journey to a prosperous future, I hereby present the 2025 budget to the joint section of the 11th National Assembly. 10th? I wrote 11. Which means you are all re-elected.
Ladies and gentlemen,
sincerely hope
you're
that
a
that
National
was a
Assembly
joke.
representative.
So we can see how the National Assembly members reacted. Very happy. Now, I believe this was a joke. Well, we want to believe it was a joke, but a very expensive one if you ask me. And I think it left a bad taste in many people's mouths. I want to hear from you.
Judith?
Whew, I don't know why it's the hot topic. Look, of course, it was clearly a joke. Of course, it was an expensive joke, very distasteful. The reaction on the floor was what got my attention. And what came to my mind was this. We are running a risk of having a one-party state.
Yep.
We're running a risk of not having an opposition.
A viable opposition.
Yeah. We're running a risk of power grab both at the federal and state level. We're running a risk of a lack of dissent, the diminishing of voices of dissent. And what you saw there in that video was that the legislative clearly does not in every shape or form are autonomous. They are not autonomous. They don't have dissent, and they cannot in any way be disagreeing. They can never exercise their powers. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't have autonomy. And that video and them laughing and just jubilating and being so excited.
Did you see your auntie that first stood
was
up?
very, very clear.
Who's auntie?
It's really
Do you know, I don't know. I don't know if you guys caught the Senate President Akpabio's speech at the beginning. And I was boiling. I was boiling because it just felt like he was constantly just massaging and patting the administration's ego.
Yeah.
And that's not where you're there as Senate President. And all these, they're inside jokes at the expense of Nigerians.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree, it was a joke. And you know, they've told us Bola Tinubu was the president.
Is it funny?
He's a funny man. And it was a quick reply. Let me tell you, it was a quick reply on an error that he said he wrote.
A very
But it
smart
was
reply,
but it was a distasteful reply. And I'll tell you this, and I said it on my timeline. I said, the president wasn't talking to Nigerians.
No, he wasn't.
He was talking to the National Assembly members. He was talking to people who understood the language he was speaking. You're all re-elected. In a country that has a context and has issues with elections. So while it was a quick retort and a quick reply, it was a wrong one. It was distasteful. It was not for the Nigerian people, but it was a message that has been delivered.
And you take it or leave it, because and then it now, and hopefully CSOs are watching. Hopefully those who are able to champion the cause of the Nigerian people are listening to be like, okay, look, that is something we need to probe into.
So Judith, you know the funny thing, nothing will happen. So he can come out to try and debunk whatever, but when they do it, they will defend it. There is always
people will tell you that we're not able to take a joke. But don't you think you people cannot take a joke?
You guys think they're going to defend it? You will go to prison. They'll just come and pick you up and throw you somewhere. What are you talking about? Nobody's going to fight anything.
We used to fear. There was a time where the fear was palpable during the reign of the late General Sani Abacha. There was that fear that if you said something, before you finish saying it, they have picked you up. And we thought it wouldn't get worse than that.
That was over.
But now we have seen different shades of worse.
Under democracy.
Listen, under the so-called perceived democracy, which I say, and we had a guest on this table who said that, Funke Treasure, who said, we are not even sure this democracy is it what we need as a people. Democracy doesn't have to work everywhere. We don't have to sit down. Is the democracy really working for us? Because, like Judith says, we risk being run as a country by one party. That's it. And whether we like it or not, we hear what the president is saying. It's a joke here. He recovered from it quickly. The president is smart. It's very it's like that. But what I'm saying is that this is going to come to pass.
It has been passing.
Because now it's a bit early, the 10th Assembly. Under our very eyes, like my mother would say, under my nose, under my very nose, it is happening. Wheels are already set in motion.
Positions have
Let me tell you, it's the people that have not caught on to 2027. These people, whether this party or that party, has a plan for 2027.
Did you see their expressions? When Judith mentioned that, did you see?
Let's even take it back, shall we? This is the House, or this is the joint Parliament, right?
Yes.
And the president is presenting the budget before them. Tolu, you've been longer in this industry than I have, and so you would recall very clearly during Jonathan's era, and even Obasanjo's era, and the late Yar'Adua's era, where the president will be summoned to the floor of the House. And they are questioning him. He's shaking in his boots.
The budget.
He is defending. They are
even
sitting down,
ministers.
questioning. Even the ministers. This man is there. Is it 10? Okay, 11. I wrote it there. And they are laughing. Do you remember David Mark? All the other Senate presidents and
Bukola
Saraki, and your former presidents. They were clashing heads. They were going in. Their power was insane. Like, that was checks and balances. Now, that was the display of what exactly. This one is just...
And you're going to see it's just going to pass like that. The budget is going to be approved just like that. Because he knew, whether we like it or not, they say it's like playing, it's a game of chess. The president knew the people he has put in core areas that need the machinery of government to function.
For him.
And it is going to be like a hot knife on a slab of butter. That budget is passed, will be passed, will forever be passed.
You can already look at the antecedents. You can already look at the antecedents of the request that the administration has made for budgets. No, for loans rather. We don't see an interrogation of the
There's
loans.
no questioning.
There's no questioning. He had ministers from last year. He's replaced some ministers this year.
Reshuffled his cabinet.
Where is the interrogation of it?
I'm telling you, I want to answer teacher I. He told us from the jump. This man said one thing. Amy, local. That's it. He didn't say a you, I don't speak a you. He said a me. It's my local. It's my turn. So I don't know why we are confused as to why he is taking care of himself.
And the people,
because that's what it is.
So this is just a typical example, or would I say reflection of the fact that the president is not accountable to anybody. That National Assembly are just a bunch of figureheads sitting down there clapping and hoping that
yes, sir. Club. It's an old boys and some women's club where they take care of themselves.
Yes.
That's the perception of many Nigerians. If you go and ask a Nigerian right now what the National Assembly is meant, again, a lot of people do not understand the checks and balances anymore. So the education around the power of the National Assembly to check and balance the executive and the judiciary, a lot of people don't know. But then if you talk to them about what they will tell you that the National Assembly doesn't mean anything for them in their lives.
Yes, true.
It doesn't mean anything. And it's not to say that everything he brings before the National Assembly is wrong or bad, but we want to see an interrogation of what
doing the work that they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, we have looked at this.
Even just pretend to scrutinize it.
Even pretend.
Just pretend to scrutinize it.
Pretend.
Thank you. Pretend.
Give us some sort of, just give us small respect.
Just pretend like you're doing your job.
And again, I'll say this. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. And I'm glad. Hopefully, the camera is on me. So a year ago, to the president of the Senate's president,
God's will Fabio.
Sir, do this, sir. Takara.
You'll translate, too.
Please stand up.
Stand up now.
Stand up. You are a strong man of the South, and honestly, I am shocked on the metamorphosis of you, sir. The way that you have flipped 360 or 180, it is shocking to see, and unbelievably saddening as well. Not only for me, but also from the people of the South. Because you seem to forget that we are also the minority of Nigeria. The South, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom, we are the minority, and you represent us on a national level. And that means that you represent the people and you carry our cries with you. If you decide to become, I wouldn't say the word, it begs to ask the question, are you representing your own interest, your personal ambitions, or the people of the South?
I think it's a question
that
that
note,
all of them should be.
We'll go on a break. We'll be back after this. Stay with us. Now, this is Jasir on a Hot Topic Special Friday, and I hope you've been feeling that we've been giving you the heat back to back. Our guest is the lovely and intelligent Judith Atibi, and it's always a pleasure to have. You have intelligent women.
Ladies, I mean, I'm on the table of winners, so award-winning show, so I have to come and represent.
Time is not with us. We have like 3 more stories, but we're going to get into the very last story for today, which I see if we can get through it very quickly. But during the week, ace comedian Bovi found himself in the center of social media controversy because of a comment he made during an interview. The comedian was sharing a story of how his son has broken 3 televisions in his house and how he still didn't beat him because he believes in letting children be children. Not only that, but Bovi also said that he basically asked the question as to why parents beat their children, and we should be questioned for it. Let's watch this and see if we can get into some conversation.
For beating children. You should let children be. My son Chuchu, they break television for the fun of. If he vex, he go, whoa, he would throw stuff and break. So it got it got to the age where he got to, and I saw the remorse.
All right. Okay. I like how quiet the table is, first of all.
So I'm one that's very reluctant to judge other people's parenting styles.
Thank you.
Because each child is different.
Yeah.
This example he gave that a child will vex and just throw, I don't understand this.
No, I think
What?
Okay.
Okay, so here's my... So this is the thing.
Yeah.
I don't believe in hitting children, and I'll explain why. I believe in discipline, and I think that there's a difference between discipline to teach or correct, and discipline that breaks the spirit. And I think that in Nigeria, in Africa, we practice discipline that breaks the spirit and the will of this child, so that they conform to what you want done, not what is. But
no, I agree on that.
So my argument for this, and I've had this argument with so many people, I'm like, if Nigeria, if the way we apply discipline in Nigeria actually works, we wouldn't have the kind of government we have. Let me be honest with you. I'll give you an example. If a child steals and then you catch them and then you whoop them, don't steal, blah, 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 blah. If the child doesn't understand why stealing is bad, you have taught them not that stealing is bad because it deprives the person of something. You've taught them getting caught doing the bad thing is what you should avoid. Right. So they will find better ways to do the bad thing. And when they grow up and they get to a place where nobody is beating them, then they continue doing the bad thing. I think if you teach them to understand. Our guest is actually Judith.
Yes. Judith. You are very correct. Yeah. But I'm going to, and there's nothing to add here except that the reason why Nigerian parents beat their children is because there are no examples of how to discipline their children.
Other than beating.
Other than beating. And that's
but wait, very quick, I'm sorry. I want to ask the two of you. You're talking discipline. Is beating completely out of the context of discipline?
I think so.
Oh, yes, it is.
So I want to be clear on that.
Hitting your child is, and I know that someone's going to take this one day and use it, put it on my digital footprint, and then they'll come for me. But hitting your child is out of the question. No child should be hit. It's an abuse. Yeah. Plain simple. If you hit your child, it's abuse. But because it is a Nigerian context and an African context, right? It is, and we are very different from what is supposed to be, should be the best standard for parenting globally, internationally. But when you hit your child, it is abuse. But that's because, but when we hit our child here, it's acceptable because those are the examples that we've seen.
Okay, pause. Because of time. Catherine. I'm coming.
There are other things you can discipline your child, but don't hit your child. You know? Because when you hit your child, that means you've lost patience.
Wait, hold on.
I was going to say that, I was going to qualify that video that Bovi actually later on disclosed that his child was suffering from...
He's on the spectrum?
Yeah. So, so I kind of get where he's coming from. Because of that, because of the context, how his child was, what his child was suffering from. Right. But for me, I will beat speaking. That's for me. I'm not beating a child because of anger. I get where you're coming from. So when I discipline my children, it's disciplining to tell them why you're being disciplined and beaten. Not beating in the sense that you beat and the child will bleed and no. I feel that as we evolve, as the country, as the whole climate is evolving, country, continents evolving, you evolve with the time. So there's also the carrot and the stick. That's for me. There's a carrot and there's a stick, and that's what I practice.
Okay, wait. Blessings.
Okay, so very quickly, 3 things, right? Number 1, I agree completely with not being one of those, again, I'm not even a parent. Well, I am a parent with a dog, but I agree completely with not being one of those who judge people's parenting style. But at the same time, do not superimpose your style on other people. That's 1. Number 2, I will spank you if I need to spank you and explain why I'm spanking you. I don't believe in allowing children make mistakes and realizing why. If you put your hand in fire and it burns you, you won't put it in the fire again. So if you do something, I'm not saying I'll spank you for not saying good morning, but if you steal, I will beat the hell out of you. The next time, you won't try it again because you remember how painful it is. So I understand the idea of, okay, it's abuse and all that. That is how I was trained. I mean, if I was one of the only children that wasn't beaten, and my mouth was not good because I know that they would not touch me, right? But I'm not saying that there are no other disciplinary measures, but I'm saying if I need to spank you not to do it again, that is an African culture, I would do it. I would not go the extent of maltreating you to the point where you bleed or you start asking if I'm your mother. But if I need to spank you, I will spank the hell out of you.
Okay, sorry, I have not said anything. We're going. So I'll say this: when Corday was growing up, I was beating. I won't even lie, but I'm not a heavy beater. But one day she did something, and I said, "I'm going to punish you." And this girl looked at me and said, "What are you going to do? Are you going to beat me?" And that's when I realized that, am I going to beat you? I beat you, and then there's no connection. I desensitized. I said, "Oh, you think you're smart?" And so what I want to say is that she's Gen Alpha. Now I'm hearing that the Gen Beta is coming up in the next few days.
And the fact that Gen Beta is interesting.
And the fact is, we need to realize that parenting has to evolve. We're raising different children for a different era. And if you are a parent that is beating, I hope you're not beating in anger. I hope you step back and take time. Because we have seen parents who beat in anger. There are people who are carrying scars of beating into their adulthood. Physical. Do you see what I'm talking about? So there's there's a we're rushing this. There's a conversation to be had.
We need to come back to this
question I'll ask is, if you're hitting the child, why do you feel the need to make your child feel pain?
Okay, one thing. So listen, you actually asked. One thing. If you tell people not to be violent when they grow up, but when you're training them, you train them with violence. How are you expecting them not to solve the problem?
You know that hitting is not the only violence. There is verbal abuse as well.
So as we said, Bovi ignited a debate, and it's not just a conversation. He was even being criticized and actually really insulted.
Meanwhile,
and he came back at people, but his son was on the spectrum, which is why I said sometimes give parents grace for certain things you see because you don't know what they're going through, you don't know what the child is going through. But this is a conversation we'll take into next week. Disciplining of children. Let's talk about it right here on the Justice Table.
Thank
you so much.